Princess's Grace. So this is going to be a bonus video for this particular series. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of stripped kind of scraps, whether that's the branding strip or just leftover from when I cut out just strips of them. So what I did was I grabbed a not so used cardstock like this very bright neon green, and I used that as a base, and then I just added some adhesive to that and just added all of the strips that you see me do here. Now I did some diagonal, I did some just lengthwise, some crosswise, and I don't really have a layout in mind when I made it, but I'm going to show you what I did when with one of those strips. So when I did the diagonals, I did one that was going from top left to going down to the right. And then I also did one that's the opposite, where you're doing it going from the top right and then bottom left. I'm figuring that, well, when I was making it, I was thinking that maybe I can use it kind of as a bookend, but I'm just going to use one of them here. And this layout is going to go really quick for me because a lot of the design is already from the block of the paper. And I just cut that in 6 inch, so it's 6 by 12, and then just layered it all. Because I figured if I'm going to do a single page layout, I am not going to need a full 12 by 12 of that, and I'm just going to need maybe to cover parts of the layout and not the entire one. So that's why I did 6 by 12, just so that I can have more leeway. Again, I don't like to pre-make my pages. I think I've talked about that already. Like, I don't make base pages just because I don't really know how I'm going to use that later on. And so this idea of just making a block or a strip gives me some room to decorate or to use that for when I do end up using that. I'm using just one 4 by 6 photo, and this is a photo of me and my family just coming out of church. This was the first time that we were able to worship or attend a Sunday service in person, and so that's what I'm documenting here. Again, this was in 2020. I believe we started going in person. I think it was like closer to July or August of that year. And what happened was that our congregation was divided into, I think it was like 50 people per sermon or per meeting, and it was based off of your last name. So so basically we end up going to church in person once a month, and then the rest we can watch or attend in through Zoom. And so this was, for me, I feel like it was a monumental thing for us to document, especially during that time. So that's why I'm doing that here. Now, going back to the block of papers, you can see there were a lot of colors already there, and they have like various designs and colors. And I think this works really well, especially for those papers that are not so themed heavy. You can totally do that and add that here, because even though I know that there's some papers here that are more Halloween, it doesn't really, like, it doesn't scream Halloween because it doesn't have the themes or the usual designs that we always see in Halloween paper. So just make sure that you're watching that as you put together your blocks of paper like I did. Another thing that I took into consideration when I was planning this layout was that I wanted to make that paper stand out against the background. And so instead of using white cardstock, which I normally do, I ended up with black cardstock because I wanted all of those pops of colors coming from that strip or the block of papers to stand out. And I like it this way. I also was able to use up some of my fa- not barely used, but letter stickers that I don't normally gravitate to because I don't always use white. And so I'm putting it the title of Worshiping in Person. And initially I thought that it will all fit in that 6 inch width, or yeah, that piece where the black was, but then it's kind of overlapping onto the pattern paper block that I have created. And so I'm trying to figure out how I could still put the W in on there without it kind of getting lost with all of those patterns. And I remembered that I had matted my photo with green cardstock. I picked green because I had a green mask on. And so I am just trying to see if I can grab some paper, green paper on there and then use that. Initially, I was going to do that 1 inch because I really don't want the circle to be really big, but I actually, it wasn't quite the size that I wanted. So I went with, I think I went with an inch and a quarter circle punch, and then I'm just going to put the O and the W. I kind of ripped the O when I was peeling that off, and so I just went and grabbed a new O, which thankfully I had enough in that particular sticker sheet. I love that kind of, I think it's called Loopy Loo or something like that. I like that font from Doodlebugs, and sadly, I don't have a lot of those anymore. Also pulled out just a few die cuts here and there from my book just to see if anything will match this. I don't want to add a lot of design to this layout because, again, the design comes from this panel that I've already created, and so I don't want to take too much more time in adding elements here and there, but I do want to create a visual triangle, and so I pulled out some die cuts that I think would work well with the idea that I had in mind. I was trying to use this green, it's a chipboard piece. I'm trying to see where I can find it. It's just gold, and I thought it would look good against this paper, but I end up putting it over where it says the Big Day. Now, the Big Day die cut is actually, I believe that was from the wedding themed collection that I use from Simple Stories that I use and maybe a couple of series ago. If you have not watched that, make sure that you watch it. And I believe it's like Simple Stories something. I don't remember the series name, but anyways, that was that, and I thought that the phrase would work well for this particular layout. And then I'm just going to handwrite some journaling there where I will, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it right. Oh, I guess what did I do? Oh, yes. I felt like the right side, sorry, of the page needed a border because it just feels like it's floating there. And I was trying to use my white pens and they just don't work anymore. And so I'm trying to see if gray one will work or blue one. And then I will end up using the gold because it just looks like that one is the thing that would stand out the most against the black cardstock. And again, I am going to handwrite the journaling off camera, and I did stamp the date already on there. I will create this line a couple of times so that I will create that visual frame there, and then that is my layout. I will have close-up shots after this. Thank you so much for watching, and I have another video, another bonus video from this series, so make sure that you watch out for that because that's coming up. Have a great day, guys, and I will talk to you guys another day. Bye.